You're watching Good Morning Texoma.
Good Monday morning, Texoma.
Sky's still clearing right now after our showers yesterday and temperatures falling a little bit.
But Matt says a nice day is in store with above average temperatures. Sounds great.
Yeah, not a bad start to the work and school week on the way, and we did miss out on some strong thunderstorms last night. Those mainly stayed in our far southeastern counties around Bowie and parts of Clay County, Jack and Young counties, and all those showers now well off towards the east, even now mostly east of I-35. A couple showers down by Dallas this morning. But overall, in Texoma, we're seeing improvements. No rainfall in Texoma as we go towards right now. Pretty much done for the rain for the rest of the day and really for the next several days here. Temperatures, though, are falling behind this front, if you will. It's a cold front technically. It's not really going to be all that cold for today. And this morning, it's not that bad for late November. Upper 40s in Lawton with light winds. Those winds will start to increase, though. They already are in Altus, 51 degrees, a west to southwest wind, and 54 in Duncan, with skies that are partly cloudy right now. We'll turn mostly sunny for today. Starting in the 40s, we'll make about 60 by lunchtime, 11 o'clock, excuse me, upper 60s by 3, and then start to fall back into the mid-50s as we get towards 7 o'clock here. So overall, not a bad day, and we'll see those winds become a little more breezy, especially by lunchtime into the afternoon. Another front is on the way for your Tuesday. We'll talk about cold air and rain chances by later this week in your full Skywarn 7-day next.
New this morning on 7 News, officials are trying to find out what caused engine failure on a commercial airplane after it had to make an emergency landing. The American Airlines flight landed safely at the Albuquerque International Sunport when it lost one of its engines in midair. According to airport officials, American Airlines flight 1693 was headed to Las Vegas from Dallas when it reported engine failure and requested an emergency landing. Thankfully, no injuries were reported. This morning, police are saying that a man wanted in connection to a deadly shooting has been shot and killed after a shootout with police. The superintendent of the Louisiana State Police said the suspect was dead when he arrived to a hospital. His name has not been released, but officials say he was 48 years old. The East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office says it started after a shooting earlier left one person dead and injured another. Investigators determined the suspect shot one woman while they were in a car together, and he then pushed her out at an intersection. The suspect then hit someone else with his car and got out and started shooting. One witness described the chaos that ensued.
The commotion broke out. You know, we could see some people starting around, and that's when my wife yelled out, they're shooting, and we saw a bunch of people running, running down away from the ambulance.
Later, deputies spotted a man matching the suspect's description walking down a street, and when they ordered him to put his hands up, he pulled out a handgun and opened fire. Deputies shot back, killing him.
An explosive outside a U.S. embassy was detonated by police this morning. It happened in the early hours today in the Philippines. Eyewitnesses said the device was placed about 500 feet from the embassy by someone riding in a taxi. Officials say it was similar to a device used in an explosion in September that killed 14 people. No one's taking credit for the bomb, but police in the area are theorizing it may have been placed by an Islamic terror group member. Government forces of Syria have captured a neighborhood in eastern Aleppo overnight, putting a section of rebel-held areas now under state control. And this is all according to Syrian state media. The government forces captured the neighborhood early today. The government has captured 10 neighborhoods in the past few days, putting roughly 30% of Aleppo's rebel-held neighborhoods now under government control. Thousands of people have been fleeing to safety in the government-controlled areas of the city. 22 people have been hurt after the Islamic State group used chemical weapons against Turkish-backed Syrian opposition fighters. And it happened in northern Syria. A report says fighters were taken to a decontamination unit. The Disaster and Emergency Management Presidency, an institution for handling chemical attacks and similar situations in Turkey, has not yet released a report confirming the attack.
This morning, a German court upheld the conviction for a former Nazi guard at Auschwitz. 95-year-old Oscar Groening was sentenced to 4 years last year for being an accessory to murder. Germany's Federal Court of Justice rejected his appeal today. It marks the first time an appeals court has ruled on a conviction based on the logic that working at a death camp is enough to convict someone of being an accessory to murder.
Donald Trump is claiming voter fraud in the presidential election. Find out why.
And the family of a baby who survived being thrown out of a car during a crash is speaking out. Hear what they had to say about the wreck.
Yeah, the first of several cold fronts arriving right now in Texoma. What the next one will do in terms of our high temperatures coming up next.
This is Skywarn 7 weather with meteorologist Matt DePiro.
Storm Tracker 3D was a little busy overnight with some strong thunderstorms in our far southeastern counties. Those are done now. Those have moved out. Aside from a little bit of ground clutter, we're all clear in Texoma. No rainfall this morning. And that's going to be it for several days in terms of any appreciable rain chances until we get towards the late week. We'll show you that coming up in a second. Temperatures this morning, not bad. We're in the 40s and 50s. We've dropped to about 48 now in Lawton, 51 in Altus, 56 in Wichita Falls. A little cool out there, sure, but for this time of year, it could be a whole lot colder, as we know. And it's going to get colder. That's the other thing that I'll also show you coming up in that extended forecast here shortly. Plenty of sunshine coming up for the rest of today. A few clouds at times. We'll bounce back nicely. Low 60s at lunchtime, so that'll feel pretty good. Breezy winds today out of the west, and 66 degrees by 4. The high today around 67. And then we'll fall to the low 50s, mostly clear by 8 p.m. this evening. That cold front is out. West winds are in for today, and those winds will also drop our humidity through the afternoon, so we won't have all that moisture that we've had around the last day or so. By this evening, clear skies and lighter winds near sunset. Overnight, we'll have a southwest breeze ahead of our next cold front. First thing tomorrow morning, here comes front number 2. This front will be up towards Elk City by 7:30, and will push through Texoma shortly after that, and it will cool us down a bit for tomorrow. Temperatures this evening in the mid-50s will fall pretty quickly into the 40s and eventually some upper 30s first thing tomorrow morning. And then behind front number 2, we will stay generally around 60 for tomorrow, which, by the way, is still technically above average for this time of year. And then getting even colder, though, as we head towards Wednesday, 30s. In fact, I think this shows around 40 Wednesday morning. I think it'll be closer to 30 by Wednesday morning, and that will signal another change with our air masses. Highs on Wednesday will stay in the 50s, upper 50s on Thursday. Pretty quiet through the late week until we get to Friday, especially Friday evening and Friday night. Showers are likely as December starts off here with a cold shot of some air this weekend. Highs only in the 40s. Probably getting a little nervous there. You see rain chances with 30s for overnight lows. Going to be a close call for maybe a little bit of mixing going on, wintry weather. That looks to stay just to our northwest. We'll watch that forecast for the weekend very closely because some parts of Oklahoma will likely get the first winter weather by the weekend. That will likely be to our northwest, but still, it shows you the seasons are changing.
Here comes Santa Claus.
Yeah, exactly.
New information as President-elect Donald Trump now claims millions of people voted illegally in the general election. And he tweeted that he won the popular vote if you take away millions of illegal votes. Trump did not say where he got that information. So far, there is no evidence to support the claim. Trump also tweeted it would have been easier for him to win the popular vote than the Electoral College because he says he would have campaigned in only 3 to 4 states instead of 15. According to the latest count, Hillary Clinton leads by more than 2 million ballots in the popular vote. Green Party officials have filed for a recount in Wisconsin, a state that Trump won, and the Clinton campaign said it would take part in the recount. A state board of elections could hold a hearing this coming Thursday over the possibility of recounting votes in a governor's election. And as we've been telling you about, it's happening in North Carolina. The Governor Pat McCrory's campaign wants them recounted. Recently, they had hinted at calling off a request for a statewide recount if one happens in Durham County, revealing the same results as Election Day. McCrory has been trailing his opponent by about 7,700 votes as counties throughout the state finalize their counts. He is allowed to demand a recount as long as the margin between the two is less than 10,000 votes.
A family is speaking out after an 8-month-old child survived being thrown out of a car. You'll hear what they have to say about what they're calling their miracle baby.
And an explosion in Italy. Find out why police think it may be politically motivated. It's 6:11.
Altus, Oklahoma. Thanks for watching Good Morning Texoma.
Continuing coverage now on a story we've been following all weekend. A baby thrown out of a car during a wreck found alive in a storm drain.
Now that family is speaking out about the child they are now calling their miracle baby. Melissa Kakarika reports.
All I could see was a big truck hitting me in my face.
Justice Lawson was one of 5 people traveling in a car in the eastbound lanes of Interstate 30 in Texarkana, Arkansas Friday night when authorities say an 18-wheeler clipped the car while changing lanes. In the aftermath, Justice says the airbag flung her mom Trina into the road. Before Justice could get to her, Trina was hit by a passing vehicle.
As soon as I got to her, I drug her out the right lane and I pulled her over by the rail where we was. And I looked down, all I saw was blood on me. And all I could say was, Mama, you were still alive. I thought she was dead.
Jaquisa Colson, also in the car, began looking for her missing 8-month-old daughter, Bryce Hale, who was thrown from the car.
So I started running up and down the highway, looking everywhere for her, calling her name. I didn't hear no baby crying, no baby screaming, nothing. And I panicked. I thought she was gone. And it was the worst 15 minutes of my life trying to look for her.
Texarkana firefighters found Bryce in a drainage grate in the middle of the median at least 25 feet away. They called it a miracle that the baby had little more than a scratch on her forehead. Her mother agrees.
I know it was a miracle. Nobody but God. The way they had to pull out the drainage, they just couldn't pull out. They had to turn her head a certain way, turn her body a certain way just to get out. And she was just sitting there looking up, waiting on them to come get her.
Remarkably, Justice, Trina, Jaquisa, Bryce, and the baby's aunt, Shamira, all survived without serious injuries.
I'm happy to be alive.
Hey, look at what?
You know, night times I sit and I cry because I think, I could have been dead. My niece could have been dead. My sister could have been dead. My mama could have been planning 3 funerals, but she don't have to because we're all alive.
I just started crying and thanking God for sparing my baby, for sparing us, for not taking my angel away from me. And she's my miracle baby.
And that was Melissa Kakarika reporting. The driver of that 18-wheeler has been cited for an improper and unsafe lane change. Officials say the car seat was not properly installed.
And now, your 7-minute weather guarantee from Skywarn 7 Weather.
We had to deal with quite a bit of wind yesterday and still seeing some this morning.
Yeah, breezy out there for sure. Now, though, yesterday was a kind of a moist wind, humid. Today, though, we're going to see a drying wind coming in from the west, which don't see that direction quite often here.
Yeah, a little bit different.
Yeah, it will. It will drop that humidity as we go towards later on today. But we'll notice that throughout the afternoon with the sunshine also coming out. Right now, though, 54 degrees, and we're seeing a clearing sky. It's taking some time here. That front is kind of sweeping out the clouds and the moisture and also the rain showers now that are well to our east. So no rain really expected in Texoma this morning. It could be a few spotty showers well off towards the south, but for us, a lot of sunshine with a few clouds at times. 40s this morning, upper 40s, 60 by 11 o'clock, mostly sunny and breezy. The high temperature above average will be around 67 by 3.
During the holiday season, family commitments, travel, shorter daylight hours, and chilly temperatures can make it harder to stick to your workout routine. We're taking a look at some solutions in your Morning Med Watch. Sticking to our workout routine can be difficult over the holidays. Here are some tips for staying active during the season. When you're out doing your shopping, choose a parking spot that's far from the entrance and do a little extra walking before you begin. If you're shopping at a mall, make one full lap around the mall before you start. This will give you extra exercise and allow you to do some window shopping before you make your purchases. If you're around small children, take advantage of their energy. Play with them, go for a walk, even chase them around the house. You'll be squeezing in some exercise and the kids will put you in the holiday spirit. And since they're all around, why not plan some activities with your family? Go caroling or take a walk to check out holiday lights. But be realistic. The holidays are always hectic and sometimes people have trouble sticking with their exercise routines. If you can't do your full intensive workout, that's okay, as long as you don't let it go too long. With your MedWatch Minute, I'm Mackenzie Burke.
If you see news happening, call our news hotline at 355-NEWS.
Welcome back. It's 6:23 and 48 degrees.
9 days of mourning are underway in Havana, marking the death of former Cuban leader Fidel Castro. The government is also preparing for a 2-day public memorial in the city's Revolution Plaza.
But just a few hundred miles away in Miami, jubilation as Cuba celebrates, or exiles celebrate, hoping for change. ABC's Janae Norman has the latest.
It's the tale of two cities united by the impact of one man.
The road to Havana paved with glory for rebel chieftain Fidel Castro.
The Cuban government banning public drinking, music, and dancing for 9 days to honor the leader.
Missing all the music, which we know is like such a big part of the culture.
Leaving the normally lively city eerily quiet. But on the peninsula to the north, in Miami's Little Havana, a noisy celebration for Cubans who fled Castro's brutal regime.
I'm not happy because somebody died. Death. It's not about that. It's about that we see the future changing.
During his decades in power, Castro sent more than 1 million of his own people into exile, separating families and denying them the right to return. Cubans in Miami consider the Castro family a reign of terror, one still in power.
Raul Castro has things in place. The repression continues. The lack of freedom continues. So, no, it won't be an overnight thing at all.
The icy relationship between the U.S. and Cuba thawing. Just this March, President Obama marking closer diplomatic ties with Cuban President Raul Castro, a move President-elect Donald Trump aims to undo.
We will cancel Obama's one-sided Cuban deal made by executive order if we do not get the deal we want and the deal that people living in Cuba and here deserve.
If Trump reverses the recent openings to Cuba by President Obama, it stands to impact the American companies already invested in Cuba, like airlines, hotel operators, even some phone carriers. It would also stand to impact American tourism to the island, which was up 12% in the first half of the year. In Washington, Janae Norman, ABC News.
French conservatives have picked Francois Fillon as their presidential candidate in next year's election. Fillon beat his opponent in the Republican Party's first ever U.S.-style primary runoff, getting about 66% of the vote. Fillon will now be taking the platform to broaden the electorate to become the Conservative Party's presidential candidate.
And Fillon is a lawyer who served as prime minister between 2007 and 2012. He's talked about cutting public spending, reducing immigration, and investing in security, defense, and justice.
Central America is recovering after Hurricane Otto killed 12. Find out where the storm is now.
And a shooting in Lawton. We're going to tell you what we know so far as police have begun their investigation.
And we do have a breezy west wind and drying air out there. That will lead to a lot of sunshine for today. But we'll talk about colder weather moving in coming up.
Good morning, Frederick, Oklahoma. Thanks for watching Good Morning Texoma. You can count on us. This is 7 News.
Welcome back. About a minute before 6:30 on your Monday morning, and the temperature's falling just a little bit, but
just
not real cold.
And not real cold, and not compared to what it's going to be later on this week. This is nothing. And for late November, 48 degrees to start off the day is really, we call it mild because it really is. The lows are supposed to be around 30.
Especially when it was frosty Saturday morning.
We had a full frost on the grass and everything. Not seeing that, of course, not even close out there right now. So temperature's not bad as you get your day started. Perhaps a light jacket needed. Will be in the upper 40s with some lingering clouds and a southwest breeze. So again, perhaps a light jacket. May not need one, though, later on today. Rain is done for the day as those showers and storms now into southeastern Oklahoma, northeastern Texas, and clearing over Texoma taking place right now. And that'll be our weather for the rest of your Monday. Not a bad start to the week here. Plenty of sunshine, a little breezy at times, 10 to 20 mile per hour winds today. 66 in Altus, 67 in Lawton, near 70 though across North Texas, about 10 degrees above average for this time of year. A few clouds for tonight. Winds will actually shift towards the west again and then eventually north by tomorrow morning. We'll be cold tomorrow morning, upper 30s to mid 40s, but not as cold as it's going to be. Our highs will step down each day this week, pretty much, the exception of Thursday, but we'll be down to the mid-50s Wednesday. We try to recover a bit on Thursday. Doesn't happen, though. Clouds and even some showers arrive by the weekend. Highs on Saturday will struggle into the 40s.
New this morning on 7 News, officials are investigating an explosion in Italy at a barracks that happened just hours before the Prime Minister was set to visit the city. He was expected to campaign for constitutional reform a week before a referendum on the subject. But it is not clear right now if that explosion is linked to the visit. Nobody was hurt, but a building was damaged. About 10 officers were sleeping inside when it happened. Window panes and the entrance door were shattered.
Pope Francis is praying for Central America as it takes on a double hit from Hurricane Otto. Pope Francis prayed for people in Central America who were affected by the storm and has urged his followers not to be dominated or to be concerned for material things. Otto struck the Central American coast as a Category 2 storm, flooding towns and washing away thousands of homes in Nicaragua and Costa Rica before moving into the Pacific. The National Weather Service says a tsunami threat has been passed, but Otto remains dangerous. It's been downgraded to a tropical storm, but is still near the borders of Nicaragua and Costa Rica. Otto has already been blamed for 12 deaths in Central America. Newly released drone footage shows the extent of devastation caused by severe floodings and landslides in Italy. In Rezzo, a small village, a landslide caused by heavy rains destroyed houses, which collapsed under the pressure of mud and rubble. Hundreds have been displaced in northwest Italy after days of heavy rain caused flooding and landslides in several towns. More severe weather is expected in that region in the coming days.
Cuba is preparing for tributes to Fidel Castro this week. Find out how the island nation is memorializing the controversial figure.
And hundreds are protesting a law during a pride parade. Find out what their march is aiming for.
But first, it's time for your second Matt's Mind Mixer of the day.
Oh, that was quick.
A walk into the wild?
Well, close.
Well, close. Monty's is going to finish it off here.
Walk on the wild side.
Very good. A walk on the wild side. Yep.
A little lurie for you. They had a live look for you through the lens of our Cameron University Tower Cam. Matt's going to be back with your Skywarn 7 update. Breezy and nice today. It is 6:33 and 48 degrees.
And now, your 7-minute weather guarantee from Skywarn 7 Weather.
Temperatures a bit cool this morning behind a cold front, believe it or not. And we do have a front coming through. It's not going to be really all that cold today or all that windy like you might expect from a cold front, though, as I'll show you. See a few clouds here and also some light on the horizon as we get closer to sunrise. 48 in Lawton. Winds aren't bad here right now, about 5 miles per hour, but they will tend to pick up as we go throughout the day. We're not seeing any rainfall in Texoma now. All that has pushed off to the east, and we're not going to see any rain for today. And it's really going to be a nice start to the work week here, despite that front coming through. So I say cold front, but it's hard to call it that when you have temperatures in the 60s. 60 by 11 will be around 67 at 3, mostly sunny, falling into the mid-50s, mostly clear skies by 7 this evening.
Update desk as Cuban state workers are preparing for tribute events for late former President Fidel Castro. Cuba begins its official 9-day mourning today with large memorial ceremonies throughout the week. There will also be a funeral on Sunday with heads of state attending. Officials announced the public will be allowed to sign a book of condolences at the Jose Marti Monument in Havana's Revolution Square. Revolution Square played a historic role in Castro's life as the site where he gave many of his speeches. The former Cuban president died Friday at the age of 90. Hundreds are protesting against discrimination, demanding a law criminalizing homosexual acts in India be repealed. It was part of a gay pride parade. The march's aim was to show solidarity with the LGBT community in making a united call for equality of gender and sexuality. In 2009, a court declared a section of the Indian Penal Code that criminalizes homosexual acts to be unconstitutional. It was overturned 4 years later. It makes the acts punishable by up to 10 years in prison.
It's Cyber Monday, and the holiday deals continue today. Find out how much the average shopper ended up spending on this year's Black Friday. And check out this model of Wrigley Field made of gingerbread. We're going to tell you how long it took to make. It's 6:38 and 48 degrees.
And now, your 7-minute weather guarantee from Skywarn 7 Weather.
Definitely might be feeling some colder weather and wintry weather, right?
It's going to take some time, but I think this week we're going to notice the season's really starting to change. Appropriate because December is going to start this week, too. We have 3 days left, though, in November.
Monty said Santa's coming, so that's why.
Yeah, Santa's coming, that's why. It's officially now the holiday season, so it's got to get colder eventually, and it will. It will, though, happen in stages. Here's 3 stages right here. Your 3-day forecast. This is the last couple days of November. Increasing sunshine for today. Breezy. Today, by the way, will be likely the warmest day we see for at least the next week, if not even longer. Keep that in mind. 67 degrees the high today. 60 for tomorrow. Mid-50s on Wednesday. So you notice those temperatures getting colder and even colder as we approach the weekend. We'll also talk about our next chance of rain coming up next.
Happening today, Oklahoma's Attorney General is set to meet with President-elect Donald Trump. It's not clear what the meeting will be about, but Scott Pruitt will meet with Trump and his transition team today in New York. Pruitt was elected Oklahoma's Attorney General in 2010 and re-elected in 2014. He is not eligible to run for re-election because of term limits. Pruitt fought to sue the state of Colorado last year for its legalization of marijuana. He's also known for suing the Obama administration over a number of issues, including a directive to allow transgender students to use the bathroom of their choice in public schools. Before he was elected Attorney General, Pruitt served in the Oklahoma State Senate for 8 years. The election drama is still not over. President-elect Trump says he does not believe Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. He's also blasting the former Democratic nominee for taking part in a recount effort that he labels without evidence or nuance a scam. Yasmin Amur has more.
Like many of Donald Trump's controversies, this one started on Twitter. The president-elect tweeted Sunday, quote, "In addition to winning the Electoral College in a landslide, I won the popular vote if you deduct the millions of people who voted illegally." Trump is the president-elect despite losing the popular vote by almost 2 million. There has been no evidence of any kind of massive voter fraud. Over the weekend, in a move unprecedented by a president-elect, Trump unleashed a series of angry tweets about a vote recount effort spearheaded by the Green Party's Jill Stein. The Clinton campaign announcing Saturday they would participate while making clear they are not attempting to contest the results. Trump's senior advisor Kellyanne Conway slammed the efforts.
The idea that we are going to drag this out now, where the president-elect has been incredibly magnanimous to the Clintons and to the Obamas, is pretty incredible.
Stein has raised more than $5 million for fees and court costs associated with a recount in Wisconsin. The move coming after data security experts raised concerns over discrepancies between areas that used paper ballots versus electronic. It's an effort incoming Chief of Staff Reince Priebus called a total waste of time during an interview on Fox News.
And it's ridiculous. This is a fundraising, notoriety-driven fraud by a person who won 33,000 votes in Wisconsin to President-elect Trump, who won 1.4 million.
Yasmin Amr, 7 News.
And that recount in Wisconsin is set to begin next week. The Green Party is also seeking recounts in Michigan and Pennsylvania.
A lot of veterans are not happy with one college this morning. They showed up to Hampshire College in droves this weekend after the school's president ordered all American flags be removed from campus. His decision followed protests on campus after the presidential election. Vets from all over New England gathered at the Massachusetts College to protest the decision. They were joined by Springfield's mayor, who is also voicing opposition. The college's president did not attend the demonstration. A group is suing over the estate of the late Oklahoma energy executive Aubrey McClendon. Find out how much money the plaintiffs are looking for. But first, here's a live look outside through the lens of our Altus Tower cam. Matt's back with your full Skywarn 7 forecast and turning colder this week. It's 6:45 and 48 degrees.
This is Skywarn 7 weather with meteorologist Matt DePiro.
We talked about this last week. We'll have a series of weather systems coming through this week and a pattern change as a result here as the storm track becomes more active and cold air starts to arrive. Now, we have one system here across the northern plains. Look at how wrapped up this storm is. A very strong, classic late fall storm up there with a pretty much an all-out blizzard across North Dakota, rain on the other side of it where it's warmer. For us, that front is dragged down towards the southern plains, pushed through this morning, and that's going to clear out. So that's number one, pretty much done with that for now. But more active weather back to the west here. You can almost see the pattern of clouds coming in from the Pacific and down. That's the jet stream, and that's going to be an active storm track for us, and also will help to drag in cold air progressively over time. I'll step out of the way here. This is the midweek through the weekend. Just want to show you what temperatures are going to do here as an early heads up. 54 Wednesday, we go up to 58 Thursday, but then we crash for the weekend. Coldest air of the season so far, as highs will be in the 40s Saturday and Sunday. Inevitably, with the rain chances coming back too, there will likely be some wintry weather, not necessarily in Texoma, but likely to our north and northwest for the first time this year too. So we're going to be watching that very closely because we'll be close to that. But right now it looks like a lot of just rain activity for us. Temperatures 40s to 50s, 52 in Duncan right now, 48 in Lawton. A nice day coming up, mostly sunny, nicest day of the week. Warmest day of the week as well, 57 by 10, 62 by noon, 66 at 4 after hitting those highs around 67. Cold for tonight though, a couple clouds around. Another front will arrive by the morning. That front will come through dry and bring in just cooler weather for tomorrow. Temperatures tonight upper 30s to mid 40s. Your Skywarn 7-day forecast. We see how we go down kind of step by step. Mostly sunny, around 60 for tomorrow. Mid 50s Wednesday. We go up a bit to the upper 50s Thursday. We stay dry through Thursday. Clouds come back Friday, mid 50s. You notice the weekend is getting a little scary how close we're getting to the freezing mark, especially overnights. Couldn't we rule out a little bit of a mix in Texoma? I guess you couldn't rule that out completely right now. I think, though, the air will be warm enough where we'll stay with rain here, but just off to our north, likely some wintry weather in northwest Oklahoma. But do expect some showers, especially Friday night into Saturday, and some cold highs this weekend, only staying in the 40s.
Happening today is Cyber Monday, one of the biggest shopping days of the year, and retailers of all kinds are bringing discounts to their online stores. Holiday shoppers are already saving on huge deals, spending more than $3 billion online and using their mobile devices more than ever.
Cyber Monday is the online-only shopping equivalent of Black Friday. All Cyber Monday deals and events are offered exclusively to online shoppers by retailers of all sizes. And holiday shoppers are a bit more careful this year about how they spend their money, and that's according to the National Retail Federation, who says more than 154 million people shopped in stores and online on Black Friday weekend. That is up by 3 million shoppers from last year.
But each consumer spent on average $10 less than they did in 2015. Last year's average was about $300 per person. The Retail Federation attributes the drop to being more discounts available this year. According to the group, the weekend was ultimately strong for retailers, but even better for consumers looking for good deals. With the holidays right around the corner, gingerbread homes can be seen in several retail stores. But one avid Cubs fan and chef used his skills to relive the World Series by creating his own gingerbread version of Wrigley Field. The fan in Rockford, Illinois, unveiled a gingerbread field that weighs more than 400 pounds, and it is entirely edible, except for the players, who are made out of Legos.
The seats are made out of crackers, the scoreboard of edible paper, and the windows, they're made out of gelatin. The creator says it took him and his chefs more than 70 hours to build the replica. They built it for a country club holiday brunch, which every year has a gingerbread centerpiece, and it will be on display until after the holidays. In your top stories, the passengers on a plane are safe after the pilot had to make an emergency landing. We're going to tell you what prompted the flight to land early. And a shooting suspect dead this morning. We'll tell you what the suspect did to draw fire from police.
And a bomb placed outside a U.S. embassy. Find out what happened to the device since it was found. It's 6:52 and 48 degrees.
Good morning, Texoma. Welcome back to 7 News, 6:54 and 48 degrees.
Lawton police are looking for a person of interest in a shooting. It happened at Northwest 15th in Lawton. The name of the person of interest has not yet been released.
We are told by LPD that one victim was grazed by a bullet with minor injuries and went to Comanche County Memorial Hospital. The victim was treated and released. You can count on your 7 News team to keep you updated as the story develops. Following the death of former Energy CEO Aubrey McClendon in Oklahoma earlier this year, his alma mater has now made a claim against his estate. With the claim, American Energy Partners chief financial officer and other employees who came forward to claim part of the funds are seeking the holdings equal to $13.5 million. McClendon died in a car crash back in March.
The lawsuit says portions of the $136.5 million sale of Scoop Energy Company and Scoop Holdings should go to company employees. The lawsuit says McClendon held 95% interest in Scoop, adding that the AEP officials were to receive a combined 18% of that money, with 5% to be placed in a pool for employee bonuses. Oklahoma's prison director is seeking to triple his department's budget. The State Board of Corrections is seeking nearly $1.65 billion next year. The total budget of the state for next year is $6.78 billion. The director of the Department of Corrections says the request is because of neglect for the prison system.
The department is looking for $10 million for a 5% salary increase for corrections workers and more than $123 million to repair defective equipment and structures at 17 state prisons and 6 community correction centers. It would also spend almost $850 million on 2 new medium security prisons.
And in your top stories, officials are determining what caused an airplane to lose one of its engines mid-flight, prompting an emergency landing. The American Airlines flight landed safely at the Albuquerque International Airport.
Airport officials say the flight was headed to Las Vegas from Dallas when it reported engine failure and then requested an emergency landing. A suspect's dead after getting into a shootout with police. Officials in Louisiana say they found a man matching the suspect description of a shooter. When they ordered him to put his hands up, he pulled out a gun and shot at deputies who fired back and killed him.
This was after investigators determined he shot one woman while they were in a car and pushed her out at an intersection. A witness said the suspect then hit someone else with his car and got out and started shooting. An explosive outside a U.S. embassy has been detonated by police. It happened in the early hours today in the Philippines. Witnesses said the device was placed about 500 feet from the embassy by someone in a taxi.
No one's taken credit for the bomb, but police in the area believe it may have been placed by the Islamic State terror group.
Today will be the warmest day of the week at 67 degrees. You can see we slide down pretty much almost every day. Mid-50s by Wednesday. Rain, showers, and highs only in the 40s by the weekend. It is going to be cold and dreary.
Here we go.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. Good Morning America's next. Have a great Monday.